Hi guys, this is Crystal, and this is another episode of Reseller Shop Talk. And on my last video, I was about to start talking about, anyways, I was hoping to get to, and I didn't quite get to it, my big 50% off sale that I ran, and I actually promoted it to a few of my customers. And so I wanted to talk about how that went and what I was doing and why I'm doing it and what I'm hoping will happen and all that stuff. And then I am going to say that I'm going to listen to Craigslist Hunter's advice and continue to go ahead and source for big things that a lot of people are afraid to deal with or don't like to deal with. Not that I blame them, but I'm all set up to ship big stuff, so since I've gone through all this effort to be set up for that, I need to make myself do it. So I'm going to be talking about that, and then let's start off with the first item in the screen here. This is a cookie jar. This is the top of the cookie jar, and I think it's really one of the nicer ones that I've seen around. I mean, I'm sure there's others that are more popular, or the name brand is just right, or they're even cooler looking, but for what it is, I think it's pretty cool. It's pretty big. Let's see how tall this is. It is about 14 inches tall, so it's going to probably have to go in one of those, I think it's 18 by 14 by 12 eBay boxes, which is great. So there he is in full view. Now this is, I think, vintage, because this was made exclusively for service merchandise. And I don't know about you, but I actually never went into a service merchandise, but there was one that closed down probably, maybe finally, about 10 years ago. Well, in my area, and I never went in it. And then I guess they shut them all down. So I don't know if this is vintage. It could be, but it might only be, 10 or 12 years old. Something like that. I don't even know. Maybe service merchandise is still in business. I have not even done any research. But here's my story. I went into let's see. I wonder if that messes up the video doing that. Okay, let me see if I can get this back together. I have been trying to go into, let me put him down so there's at least something interesting if you look at the screen, to go to Goodwill for like their Christmas in July deal, and I could have sworn, and I think I might have erased it already, but they said that you could use like the 20% off coupons and all that stuff. But maybe I was wrong. I don't know. So I went into one, and they're like, "No, you can't use them. But you can. But we are going to honor the 50% off day for the month of July on the Christmas items. But otherwise, you can't get any discounts on any of the Christmas items. But they do have some of their Christmas items are actually relatively reasonably priced. So I have ended up paying full price, and this was $6.99. And cookie jars are good because they can go for $35, $45, $55, $65. I mean, and there's probably some that even go for more, the ones that are highly sought after. Like if Matilda Jane were to make a cookie jar, it would probably, you could probably flip that on eBay for $150. Which reminds me, here's a BOLO suggestion. Matilda Jane blankets, look them up. They will go for well over $100. I listed a Matilda Jane blanket once. It went like within days for $130 or something like that. And The thing with a lot of the blankets, I think all the blankets, but there might be a few that they sold, but they were like gifts that you would get like for purchasing. Like if you purchased $200 worth of stuff, you would get like this free blanket or something like that. And for some reason, they're just high in demand on the resale eBay listings. Now, chances of coming across one, who knows? But, you know, maybe take a look and see what the Matilda Jane blankets look like. And go on to, there's a Matilda Jane website called MJC Lookbooks, which stands for Matilda Jane Collections Look, or I think it's Lookbook. But if you just type in MJC and then like Matilda Jane or something, it'll probably be like the first website that pops up, and you can see a lot of the stuff that they have for sale, and you could like do a little search on their website for blankets and see what pops up. And then of course do Matilda Jane blanket search on eBay. Just so you know what they look like, because they're not obvious. And people at garage sales, I would think that, I mean, if one of those ended up at a thrift store, they're not going to know. I mean, the chances of them knowing are slim. Even people at garage sales, maybe they don't know that the blankets are like good for resale. Who knows? I don't know. But if you come across them, you're highly... The other reason why I think they're BOLO is because you're highly likely to be able to pick them up for cheap if you happen to ever come across one. Like, you know, like I never thought I would ever find an Eileen Fisher shirt, and I found 2 of them within like a couple months. So I'm like, oh my gosh, I need to start shopping. I was surprised that I actually found them during the time that they're popular to buy on eBay. So one never knows, I guess, what you're going to find. You just got to be out there. But yeah, so take a look at those. Take a look at all the cookie jars. And I think this is the second cookie jar. I bought this recently at Goodwill that I paid like full price for, which, you know, they're typically going for like $7 or something like that. And I'm hoping to be able to, you know, get a good $35 to $45 sale in the end out of those. And then the other big thing, I've got a bunch of big things, and this is just one of them, and I'm hoping this one might be my highest dollar one, and it's really, really cool. It is a big, huge roaster, and I bet it's from the 80s, but it could be from the 70s. I haven't really done a lot of research on them. I got it at an auction. I think I talked about it in one of my other videos, but maybe if this is your first time listening, by the way, thank you very much. I had gone to an auction on Memorial Day weekend. Well, I didn't go to it. I bid on a bunch of things online for this local auction. And I've done this like 2 or 3 times prior. And usually I'll do like the opening bids, and maybe on a couple things I'll go up on, and I'll usually win like maybe 3 auctions. But I'll try to get like 15 or 20, you know. Well, this time during that weekend, I ended up winning not every, but I would say 80% of the auctions I bid on, and I won at the opening bid. And the opening bid is $10 plus there's like a $2 auction house fee. So it was basically $12 for all of these. I ended up spending like $230 or something like that. And I could barely fit it all in my car. And because I was bidding online, I didn't really realize how big stuff was. And all I could think about when I saw all this stuff like this thing was well, Craigslist Hunter says. And he's right. When I first started selling on eBay, I wasn't afraid to ship big things. And after I shipped a bunch of big things, I'm like, oh my God, it's like it takes an hour and a half out of your day. Like it really needs to be worth your time. And luckily, a lot of the big things that I was shipping, which weren't like super, super huge, but like they were big enough to where took me quite a bit of time to ship them, to get them packaged. At least they were worth good money. Like I had like a really nice DVD or CD player, and I had, that was kind of big, like a Sony, you know, and it was like a big one. Like I think you could put like 5, I don't know. I think it was a CD, DVD, I don't remember. But I remember it was a really nice one. I was like, dang, these things were going for like $80. This is great. And I sold a keyboard, and I sold a bunch of those guitar controllers, and which actually they really aren't that big, but at first I didn't know that you take the handle apart. So I was like shipping them in these big huge boxes. Oh my God. Crazy. But yeah, I've shipped plenty of big things. I shipped like a big headlight that's like, I don't know, it was probably 2.5 feet long, for like a Kia Optima. I've shipped big lamps, antique ones, and yeah, those were like $80 to $100 items. It was totally worth going through all that trouble for them. So, and then the other thing is you're not going to have as much competition because not everybody is trying to list those things. So I totally agree with that. So I got all this stuff. I'm good to go for the next 3 months on like big stuff. Well, and I'm going to be looking for more good big stuff. So definitely I agree, but I will have to let you know about how I do with all my big stuff. So hopefully I'll remember to talk about that again. Okay, what else? Okay, so then I wanted to talk about the big sale. So I had planned a big 50% off sale. Now this was actually inspired by Nicole from Nicole States, because she was saying on one of her videos several months ago about how she would do something like a 50% off sale or something like that. I can't remember, don't quote me. Every Sunday, and then she would just, for like, I don't know if it was like half the day or for a short time on eBay, and then she would message out to her Instagram followers, and then just to give them good deals on stuff. And then of course, you know, that helps with her sales and all that stuff too. She's still making a little bit of money on it. It's not, I don't think she's going broke on it. But I thought, you know, I really should do that. And one of my strategies right now is to do things to start developing more of a following, a regular customer clientele base on my eBay store. And so right now what I'm doing, and this isn't, there's other things I'm going to be doing in the future, but right now what I'm doing is the first thing I started doing actually was making sure that people knew that they could return things for free from my store. I've been doing free returns for a long time now, and it's not a problem. But people like that. And there's several times where people are like, you know what, yeah, I'll give it a try. And they're like, oh, well, it didn't fit. And I'm like, no big deal. Just hope you check back again, and hopefully you'll find something that'll work for you in the future. And they're all appreciative and all this stuff. So, I've been promoting that way, and then I've had people tell me, yes, I noticed that, and I do, you know, pay attention to your store, and you know, people have said to me that they will be checking my store and coming back and all that stuff. So, and I do have, I saw somewhere where they give you statistics about repeat customers, and I don't remember where it is now, but like I came across it once and I'm like, oh, there it is. And now, to tell you the truth, if I had to go in, I don't know if I could figure out where it is, but it doesn't give you like a lot of detailed information about repeat customers, but there's something I found where it says this month you had 3 customers that are returning customers or something. So I'll have to, and that's another thing that I want to start paying attention to that I'm not doing. You know what? I should make a note of that. Check eBay stats for returning customers. And hopefully I will remember to come back and tell y'all where to find it if you don't want to spend a bunch of time looking for it yourself, or you forget about it and then maybe you happen to be listening and lo and behold, I will tell you. Okay, so that's the first thing that I started doing. So that would be whenever anybody would like question me with like, what are the measurements? And they're like in the pictures. And although every once in a while I'll forget measurements, but 99% of the time they're in the pictures. But I don't ever bother even saying any. For some reason, if I say, by the way, they're in the pictures, here's the measurements, and by the way, they're in the pictures. But I'm so happy that you contacted me, and thank you so much for your interest, and I mean, I try to keep it short. And then I'll say, and by the way, you know, I have a free return. So if this doesn't fit, or if it's not all what you thought it was, or whatever, just return it. You know. So so that's, you know, really helped. And then so then when Nicole mentioned that she was doing that for her Instagram people, I'm like, well, I should do that for my eBay customers. You know, like I don't have like this amazing social media following, like even my YouTube. I've been doing YouTube like longer than all these new people that have come on. They have like thousands of people watching their videos. They've been on for 3 months. I'm like, nobody watches my videos. But whatever, that's fine. So I mean, I just don't really have any kind of social media people to like really pitch to, and I just can't do all that. I used to do that. I was a mega Facebook person I used to like teach classes. I just don't have the energy for it. I don't have the gumption, the desire, you know. It's kind of like the guy that went to law school and did law for 5 years, and he just hated it and never wants to do it again. You know, it's not that I hate social media, but I just don't want to really that bad. It's just not like a big thing. I mean, I do kind of enjoy YouTube. Like, I just want to do like YouTube. That's it. And I love to communicate with people on YouTube, especially the way it used to be, where every time somebody commented on your comment or whatever, like you could comment back, and I don't know, they messed that all up when Trump became president. What the hell, man? Anyways, so she sort of, I thought, you know what, I should do like a 50% off day, and I'll just promote it to my customers. And I actually made these little flyers. In fact, oh, let me show you. I should have it ready. So I made these flyers. I don't think I talked about these. I called it the Midsummer Sunflower Lovers 50% off gratitude sale at Sunflowers Boutique on eBay. One day only, Sunday, July 22nd. And actually, it was a Saturday, and I put Sunday on this thing, and I didn't realize it until like I had sent like 20 of them out. Oh my gosh. Anyways, and then I have some more information on the back. And I just made these up and printed them out, and I got 4 on a sheet of paper, and I printed about 40 of them, but I only, to where I had like 40 of these little squares, and then, because I was thinking, you know, I wanted to do it like for about 2 or 3 weeks prior, just before the sale, and then if I needed more, I could just print more, but I only ended up using 20, because I kept forgetting to put them in the bag. Or in the packaging. So, so then what I did was the day before the sale, I went and I just messaged everybody that bought from me from July 1st up until July 21st. And I just sent everybody a message. And that's a big no-no, because you're supposed to send messages that are like relevant. And I think it's okay to contact people and say thank you, and I hope everything went well, and contact me if there's a problem or whatever, something like that. But it's kind of a no-no. There's a thing on the side that after I sent like 5 or 6 of them, I'm like, oh, what's that thing on the side there that it says you're not supposed to like do promotions, basically. And I'm like, well, I'll just take my chances. But in the future, I just will handle it a different way. So now what I'm doing is every time somebody buys something from me, I go into the feedback, because I don't have automatic feedback. I do manual feedback for people. And the reason that I do manual feedback is because I like to sort of personalize it and thank them for giving me positive feedback. And I have probably like a 50% feedback. It might be a little less than 50, but it's about 50%. I think it might be 40 or 45, to tell you the truth. I was just looking at it the other day. I didn't get all scientific and mathematical about it, but so I just send in when somebody gives me feedback, I then say, thanks for the positive feedback, and I'm having another sale, and my next one is August 20th. So then I tell them, check back August 20th for 50% off sale. And then again, when people question me or they contact me, and then I'm like, by the way, I have free stuff and I'm having 50% off sale. So I'm probably only going to be getting the word out to maybe 150 people at best. That's highballing. Probably less than that. So, and then I may or may not send out messages like I did before, like actual messages through the eBay messaging saying, thank you so much for your recent purchase of da-da-da-da-da. Having a 50% off day coming up tomorrow, check it out. I don't know if I'm going to do that again, because it might be something that I could get in trouble for. So I don't recommend that. For me, it was just one of those calculated risks last time around. But I do need to make up some more of these to put in the packages, so I'm probably going to be doing that over the weekend, because I want to get those out, because we're only like, whatever, get my next 30, 40 buyers before the sale, if I even have that many, because sales are like super slow. But so hopefully I'll have a little better turnout, because I was a little disappointed actually with the sale. I mean, I had good sales, and my total sales and my total net for that particular week was definitely up. So it was totally worth it, and which is another thing about, if you can manage to do the volume, it's great to take the lower ROI. But I've listed a lot of things really super cheap, and it's like they still don't sell, So I find that by doing these markdowns, it makes the sale more attractive. And then also by having the price, sometimes it's like sometimes I've tried to sell stuff for like $7, $8 just to get it out of my store. And finally I'm like, you know what? This is just a long tail item. I want 15. I raised the price. The next thing I know, it sells and I got that 15. But I had it listed for $7 for like 6 months on like a clothing piece. And I'm like, no, this is a really good piece. Like if somebody buys this for 15 and gets it and is like, wow, this is even nicer than I thought it was. Like, I know if you're a clothing reseller, you know what I'm talking about. Like sometimes you just can't get how awesome something is unless you see it in person. So I've had plenty of those. So it was good, except for, here's what was the most disappointing, was that 6 items were items like this that I bought to resell, or that I own. and about 24 items were Matilda Jane items. So all of my Matilda Jane customers, or probably several of my Matilda Jane customers, plus new ones, probably that just came across my listings, because Matilda Jane stuff is hot, let me tell you. That is like one of the best kids brands that you could ever find. Like they were just buying Matilda Jane left and right on my 50% off day. And so I had like, what did I say? Like 19 sales. And then I had like 6 sales of like so I only sold like 25 things out of like 700, a little over 700, like 750 or 730 or something like that items. And only a few of them. Now the other thing though to keep in mind is that I listed a bunch of Matilda Jane right before the sale. So maybe those 30 or 40 Matilda Jane items that I listed prior to my sale, like I might have listed 30 or 40 of my own things, and maybe I probably would have sold more of my own things, because not only were they new listings, but I then they were like a really good price. So I probably won't have a big batch of Matilda Jane items to list by that time, although my Matilda Jane consignment client did say that she has more, and I told her I wanted to try to get them as soon as possible for the fall back to school clothing buying madness. But anyways, let's see, what did I... Okay, the video might die any minute now, but let's see if I can manage to get it out. Yeah, so I made 100, just on that one, no, is that for the week? I thought I did it just for the day. My figures. I did this like last week, and then I never ended up making the video. I made my notes. Okay, I netted $111.73 on the Matilda Jane items. Is that right? I don't even know. I can't even read my notes. That's horrible. Anyways, well, I ended up I probably netted under $200 for the day. But the thing is I don't do over $100 very often. I'm more of like an average of $30 to $80 with a few $100 to $200 days every so often, as far as my net is concerned, on my total sales. Everybody always throws out these numbers, but they're throwing out gross numbers. And it's like, well, what did you really net? Well, I'm telling you my net. And that's what matters. And that's not including overhead, which is pretty nominal. But that's including, my net is minus the cost of shipping, minus the eBay and PayPal fees, and minus my COGS. So, and I keep track of all that stuff with a fine-tooth comb. So anyways, I think another thing that I mentioned in my last video was that I am going back to college, and I'm going to be a full-time student starting August 22nd, and I got the financial aid, I got the grant, and I'm doing community college, so I'm not going to be incurring any debt, and I'm taking all of my electives and I have 2 more general requirements that I need to take before I go back to the university. And then, so once I get those electives and those last two general educations for this school year, the 17-18 school year, then I'm hitting up my university. I'm going to get back over there, and that'll be all online. Like, a bunch of my classes are going to be like, I have to actually go to the class at the community college, and then I'll finish up. I'll have like 8 more classes at my university. They'll be all online. I'll probably get those done in a little over a year. And I'll have a degree, a bachelor's degree in business management, and then I'll either have my associate's degree but it's doubtful. I'm probably still going to need to take maybe 4 classes to get an associate's degree in accounting once I get my bachelor's. So I'm going to get an associate's degree after I get my bachelor's, but I really want to focus on that bachelor's because for whatever reason everybody thinks that's a big deal. I don't really think it's a big deal, to tell you the truth. But everybody else does, and I'm paying for it. And I'm sure it'll be good information for me. And it might help me be able to get a good paying job if I ever need to. And I won't have to be the working schlep that nobody respects. And hopefully by then I will learn to command respect better as well. That's another thing I'm working on. And I'll be able to really be able to command respect when my eBay business is like super successful. So anyways, but thanks for tuning in. So next time, I don't know for sure what I'm going to be talking about. But I will hopefully have something good. Oh, one thing I have planned is I want to do every day, I want to go to the bins every day for like 5 days in a row, like Monday through Friday, or at least 5 days in a row, even if it's like maybe Saturday through Wednesday or something. And I'm going to do bin hauls. So, and that'll be fun. So stay tuned for that. And I'll talk to you later. Happy selling. Bye.